Welcome to Fox and Robyn Recording. Today we want to talk to you about mixing and mastering and what the difference is between them. Okay, so you're probably wondering, Justin, what's the difference between mixing and mastering? And first thing is, they're kind of similar processes. I actually had someone ask me today what the difference between the two were, and I had to kind of explain it in a little bit layman term, but I thought I would go in a little more detail here. So we'll start with mixing. Mixing is the process of taking files, like what we've got on the computer behind us, taking those files that are multiple. There's like kick drum, snare drum, guitars, bass guitar, keyboards, vocals, all that stuff. You're taking all of that information and you're mixing it down, basically balancing the levels and everything, and mixing it down to either a stereo file or an Atmos file. And we'll stick to stereo for this just to make it a little bit easier. Atmos is a whole nother thing. It's surround, it's spatial audio. It's a very different type of mixing. In this stance, we'll just kind of show you the stereo version. So that's what we're going to do. So stereo is what we're going to stick with. And so you're taking all these files. You've got your drums and your guitars and your bass and your keyboards, your vocals, your background vocals, all that stuff. And you're taking all of this and you're making it down to two channels, down to multiple channels, down to two channels. And a lot of the mixing involves using compression, using equalization, effects like reverb and delay, and kind of just balancing all of that down to two channels. And that's kind of mixing in a nutshell. That's kind of the best way I can kind of put it for you guys without getting too much into it. And we might make this a whole series, I'm not entirely sure yet. And then the other side is mastering. Now mastering is a lot of little processes. You're taking a little bit of EQ, a little bit of compression, very, very small amounts, and you're adding it to add sheen, to add a little better balance overall, make it louder. You might use limiters rather than compressors. You might use a bunch of compressors to create limiting so you're not hearing it quite as much. There's a lot of things that are happening in the mastering stage, and you want to have the highest quality converters for mastering that you can to do this so you can hear the highest fidelity. And mastering engineers will take it and they'll make it sound brighter. They might make it sound a little bit brighter, maybe add a little bit more warmth with the mid-range. Maybe they'll take a little bit of low end away. Not a lot, just little bits here and there, and it all kind of stacks up into one big thing. And what it ends up giving you is a more polished and maybe even a louder product for streaming services, or even for your CDs that you might be selling at your shows. So that's kind of the difference between the two. I thought I'd do this little video on the difference. I haven't done one in a while. Hopefully this helps people when they're trying to find a mixing and a mastering engineer, or they're trying to find two different things. They're looking for a mixing engineer and all they can find are mastering engineers, or they go to a mixing engineer and ask them, hey, we want you to master this, and they come back and say, well, we don't master, we only mix. You kind of now know the difference between the two. And to kind of just overshoot everything, mixing is taking a lot of files and making them into one stereo file, and mastering is just adding that extra sheen, that extra polish to your songs. So hopefully that helps you out. One thing that helps us out, and it helps us out greatly, is for you guys to hit that like and subscribe button at the end here. Also check out our website, foxandrobynrec.com, and if you need a mixing and mastering engineer, feel free to reach out to us. We do mixing, mastering, recording, all here within this space with all the equipment you see around us. And hopefully you all get to make some music, and we'll see you next time.